Hey there, friends. Welcome to Fouch and Friends. This is the interview series with your favorite gospel music artist. If you'd like to engage with me on social, you can find me. Just go on any social platform and click Matt Fouch. Today's interview features Bryan Walker of Legacy 5. If this is your first time, please hit that subscribe button. Also, click the bell so you get notifications and you don't miss any of our future interviews. Bryan's been with Legacy 5 for just a year now. He's having a great time. He's also been a contestant on American Idol, made it all the way to Hollywood Week. We have a great conversation with Bryan. I hope you guys enjoy this. Here is Bryan Walker. Hey, Bryan Walker. What are you doing today, man?
Man, I am hanging out in Jamestown, Tennessee, the metropolis. You know a little bit about Jamestown.
I do, yeah. Actually, for those that don't know, and I'm assuming very few of you actually know this, my grandparents, my mother's parents, are both from Fentress County, the Jamestown, Tennessee area. So many a year, Labor Day weekend, we would travel from Muncie, Indiana to Jamestown, Tennessee for a family reunion and spend a couple days there in the thriving metropolis, as you said.
Oh yeah, the
But
metropolis. My wife's family's from here, so and also the radio station I'm filling in for is up here as well. So I'm actually next door to the radio station now in my wife's office.
and a little known fact too, with your wife being there, is
Mhm.
the church that we would go to a lot of times when we would visit was your wife's father's church.
Absolutely.
We would go and visit there, and always good services. And I
Yeah.
don't know if I ever met your wife back then or not, but I do remember going to the church. Beautiful church, friendly people, and good services.
Still is, man. Faith Baptist Tabernacle in Jamestown. It's a good church. And my father-in-law has since stepped down from the senior pastorate and is now the pastor emeritus. And
Mhm.
so Josh Grubbs has taken over there. He's done a great job. Loves people. Great preacher. Just a good pastor. So and I love his family. Great people.
Well, I saw your video, or actually not your video. I saw your picture there in the background, the hanging, the painting, whatever
Yeah.
that. And I thought I would one up you with the nice Caribbean background that I have for mine. What do you think?
Yeah, you win for sure. It's just a little something we threw together at home.
So I thought that this would be nice for all the folks who have been quarantined or stay at home or stay in place or whatever your state is calling it. For those that are watching this as soon as it goes out, that this is a little nice reminder that there's bright days coming, that God is still good, that this won't last forever, and that here pretty soon, hopefully, we'll all be able to get out and go visit get some sunshine and visit some cool places.
You can either go walk in the meadow or go to the beach there with Matt.
I just have to be careful to get my my sunscreen on
Yeah.
SPF 100.
Well, you did a smart thing wearing your hat because you protect your head. So nice job.
That's
Hey,
cool, man. Bryan, you've been with Legacy 5 for a year now,
just a little bit over a year now. Yep.
and we have tried a couple times to get an interview together, and on the couch, an official on the couch with Fouch. We tried that, and it didn't end up working out. And then we tried to get one of these Fouch and Friends before, and we weren't able to make it happen. But we finally got you to sit down for an interview. What has the first year been like with Legacy 5?
Honestly, a whirlwind for me. From if I'm really honest, like Legacy Five was one of those kind of positions that I never thought Scott Howard would ever leave. I thought Howard and Fowler will retire together.
Yep.
Howie will be there until the day that he says, I'm out. And so when you and Joseph Habedank, of all people, um, both of you contacted me. You were the first, and then Joe as well. And so when you guys told me that Howie's leaving, I was like, "What? Are you serious?" I couldn't believe it because it's just not ever a position we thought would ever, as a baritone singer, I thought would ever be open. So honestly, just transitioning into Legacy Five from being home, being a worship pastor, um, that was a transition. I've got three kids, three and under. Actually, we had two at the time and had a third on the way when I came and interviewed. So since then, we've had another little girl. My world in 1 year is just boom, just exploded. So it's been a great year. As far as the group is concerned, alone, man, I feel like I need to pinch myself. Like, I know this sounds so cliche and so like I'm just trying to talk up the group, and I promise you I'm not. Like, I'm a realist, and I'm the type of guy that would look at you and go, "Yeah, we're having fun." I'm not that guy. Like, I can't be that guy. I'm the guy that, like, I kind of wear my emotions on my sleeve a little bit.
Yeah.
I am having so much fun singing with L5, getting to stand beside you, you and I goofing off night after night, just doing stupid stuff together. But I mean, just I love Lee, I love Scott, I love Josh, I love Blake. I mean, our whole team, man. It's just I feel like we've got something special, and that really excites me. And I feel like people are catching on to that too. So it's exciting.
Yeah, man, we are thrilled to have you as part of the team, and I think part of it is just having new guys. I mean, that's part of the excitement over the last year is having two. I mean, not just one, but two new guys in the group. And there's always a lot of question marks and concern about any transition. The
Mhm.
transition has gone super well.
Yeah.
You guys have been welcomed with open arms, and folks have just embraced you all. It's been great as someone who's been with the group for almost 8 years now,
Wow.
um, to just sit back and watch, because I remember that experience for me too, coming to the group after Glenn had been with the group for 12 years,
Right. Yeah.
and to come in and just feel the love and the acceptance and everything. But now, having been here for 8 years, now getting to see that reciprocated to those that have come, that are new with the group now, what has it meant to you? I mean, you were in gospel music before, but coming back into the music, and so many people remembering you and giving you hugs and accepting you and showing you the love now that you're back.
It's so cool to see. I don't want to say there are different little sects inside of gospel music, but there are people who definitely flow with one fan base or another. And it's been really neat to see how at times at certain events, major events, all those kind of come together. And then there's times where you go to like an L5 hotspot or an old Perry's hotspot or in the country, you find those little places and people are like, "Hey, I remember you when you were at the Perrys." And I'm like, "Oh, that's great." And then you meet brand new faces. I've met so many incredible people just in this first year with L5. And and like you said, like they've been so welcoming and so kind. I can think of several different people. Just the very first people that come to my head are Doug and Julie Lewis. I love them. They
Yeah.
have been so warm and so welcoming to us. And I don't mean to just single one. Like I said, everybody's been fantastic, but those are the kind of people that popped in my head, and I love them, man. They're great people. And gospel music fans are great people, and I want to pause and just say to everybody who has welcomed me back into the fold, thank you. It really does mean a lot because you don't have to do that. My job is based off of whether you enjoy what we do or not. So thank you for doing that. I really appreciate it.
Yeah, and folks have loved you being with the group, and night in and night out. Pretty much, Scott has introduced you and talked about being on American Idol, and so I think a lot of folks have heard a little bit about that, and maybe they've even heard you before at the Perrys or whatever. But that really wasn't the start of your journey
No.
into music in general, but even into gospel music. So for those that don't know your history with music and gospel music, why don't you go through that timeline a little bit for them?
So for me, it all kind of starts at a young age. I sang with my dad and my brother and a gentleman from our church at First Baptist in Sevierville, and I lived there in town, a gentleman named Jeff Merle, and we called ourselves By Grace. And I was a 9, 10, 11, 12-year-old kid singing tenor, singing all the songs that my heroes sang. My dad was one of my heroes when he sang with the Kingdom Heirs. Bryan Free, I've always been a huge fan of Bryan Free, always will be. But yeah, so that's kind of, I guess, where I would say it started for me as far as singing is concerned. I've been around gospel music, with my dad traveling all my life. So I kind of know the ins and outs of what it looked like as far as gospel music was concerned. But then I guess my break, if you will, into gospel music was filling in for Triumphant Quartet. Scotty Inman had gotten the flu and pneumonia the same time. Poor
Yikes.
guy. And I was in college at Carson Newman in Jefferson City, Tennessee, and had just finished my New Testament class. Actually, it was about 10 minutes from finishing New Testament class. And Clayton Inman calls me. And I'm like, oh boy, why is Clayton calling me? And Clayton says, hey man, Scotty's been real sick. And we were trying to think of somebody that we knew could step in and sing. And he said, you knew all of our stuff. And I was like, absolutely. I was like a fanatic, at that point. I think they were still Integrity at that point. But anyway, long story short, I got a chance to fill in there. Had a chance to fill in for a lot of different groups, the Greens, Mercy's Well, sang with a regional group out of South Carolina, Safe Harbor. Sang with them for about a year and a half, 2 years. And then I guess my first real full-time position was with the Dixie Melody Boys. So I am a Ed O'Neill University graduate. So a long list of people there who've gone on to be successful in the industry. So yeah, that was it. From there, went home, started being a police officer, started the police work, and then went on American Idol. American Idol was a big deal for me and for my family. And from there is where I got the call to come join the Perrys. And so I was with the Perrys for 4 years through Tracy's stroke, and then his heart attack, then his stroke, his rehab, he and Libby getting back on the road, and then also Joseph Habedank having to leave, and so it was just a lot happened all in that time, and God definitely used that in me to grow me a whole lot, to prepare me for such a time as this. I see a lot of things in my mind that I think differently about now that I probably wouldn't have thought differently about had I not gone through the stuff that I went through. So that's a brief synopsis. That's a massive overlook in my mind of everything. But yeah, that's it, man.
What a great journey. And like you said, Ed O'Neill University, I'm sure you learned a lot there.
Oh,
The
man.
Perrys, you learned a lot there. I mean,
Mhm.
obviously with going into police work, you learn a lot there. So there's been I'm sure a lot of challenges, a lot of opportunities to grow and to gain wisdom in all of these different scenarios you've been in. The one that I've heard you share a little bit about before was just kind of the experience with American Idol, and kind of how that some of the things you learned through that journey, being on that type of a stage in that type of an environment. And what do you feel like God was really teaching you during that specific time with your journey on American Idol?
Oh, man. Probably the two biggest things that I took away from my American Idol experience. Number one was when you get to a time like Hollywood Week, where they have narrowed down tens of thousands of people who've auditioned to the top 300, and you're there and you're looking around at everybody during Hollywood Week, and everybody's talented. There's not a fluff singer in the bunch. It's
Wow.
time to put up or shut up, man.
Yeah.
And you have that gut check. Like when it's time to step up and sing, it's like there's all those doubts, all those fears of I'm not good enough. I don't deserve to be here. Like all of that stuff goes flowing through your mind. And I think the biggest thing for me was just that gut check of God's gifted you, and He's given you a reason to have the voice. He's put you in this position for a reason. And so now just take the gift He's given you and go do what He told you to do. And that was a major gut check for me. Just it was time to put up or shut up, sing or go home. And they said that several times during American Idol, and man, it just rang true with me so many times. That's number one. The second biggest thing for me was the biggest learning experience for sure. There was a young lady that I was seated beside before my second solo audition during American Idol week, or Hollywood Week, excuse me. And there were a group of kids off singing worship music, and cameras were on them. And I was in the corner next to her, kind of seat away from her, safe social distancing. No, I was kidding. But we were just, everybody was kind of focusing, trying to pay attention to what they were doing. And I was trying to learn some lyrics. And she leaned over to me and she goes, "Hey," I said, "Yeah." She said, "How come you're not over there?" I was like, what do you mean? She said, well, don't you believe what they believe? And I said, oh yeah, I do. She said, well, why aren't you doing that? I was like, well, kind of feel like it's a little bit of a show. Like they're just kind of showing off for the cameras. And I don't really want to be a part of that. She said, She kind of pauses for a minute and she just says, so what do you believe? I mean, just like on a silver platter, here you go. Like, what do you believe? And I said, well, I believe in Jesus Christ. And I was able to walk from his birth, his crucifixion, his resurrection, what that means for me, the scripture, what it means for me. Just honestly, very easily able to share my faith. And she was there with open ears, hearing everything I had to say. And I got finished. And she looked at me, she said, that's cool. And that was her response. That was it. And so I'm sitting there thinking, okay, now's your chance, man. Now's your chance to try to lead her to Christ. And so I just said, so what do you believe in? She said, well, I wouldn't really call myself a person of faith. I said, well, if you had to put your faith in something, what would you put your faith in? And I will never forget her answer. She said, probably Buddhism. And I said, why Buddhism? She said, because every Buddhist I've ever met has been the nicest person. And man, that hit me like a ton of bricks, realizing that what she was paying attention to in the lives of people around her were how they treated her. They didn't care about the redemption story, didn't care about necessarily eternal life or anything else. She simply cared about how people treated her. And it totally changed the way that I think about ministering to people. It changed the way that I thought about sharing the gospel with people, just loving on them where they are. And accepting, is everything necessarily pleasing and awesome in somebody's life when you very first meet them? No, but that's okay because God doesn't care. I immediately think of that Greater Vision song, God doesn't care. He doesn't care where you are. He loves you. And he wants to redeem you. Like that thought just totally wrecked me, man. And so those were the two biggest learning experiences by far with American Idol.
That's all. And I love hearing you share about that story with that woman there at American Idol, because it really is a great story, but it's also a great reminder for us as people of faith not to get so stuck on some of the things that are not important, because like what you said, it's like at the end of the day, what they remember is how you treated them.
Absolutely.
And how they feel about the relationship with you, and were you kind to them? Were you easy to talk to? Did you listen, or were you just trying to cast your opinions and your thoughts and your faith on me the whole time? Or were you actually listening to me and what I, my thoughts and everything? And so many times we get stuck on what I have to say as opposed to listening to what the person is also saying. And it doesn't change what we believe.
Sure.
Making them feel like that they are important just simply by listening.
Absolutely.
And then saying, I see what you're saying, but I have a difference of faith in that. I have a difference of opinion, and here's what that is. I think so many times in life, if we just show kindness, that goes a long way. And so I love hearing you share that. What in the world is going to be happening over the next year or 5 years for you? Do you have any plans? Are you going to be doing anything special, anything different? Just traveling with Legacy 5? You're going to have more kids? Are you going to?
Let me answer that one for you. Well, that depends on who you ask. If you ask me, we're done. If you ask my wife, we're still praying about it.
I got you.
So yeah, I don't know, man. Honestly, I feel like my time as a police officer, and then specifically my time as a police officer in Cookeville, from there to my church position at Cumberland Fellowship in Crossville, Tennessee, I feel like God really kind of opened my mind a whole lot to what he might have for me. The creative process became really, really, really important to me during my time at Cumberland Fellowship. I think just recognizing Easter, Christmas, Memorial Day, Veterans Day, any major holiday, but anything that is centrally focused, especially to faith and to the Christian faith, you've got to be creative with that. You've got to come up with something different and new to present to people, and in a new, fresh way to do that.
Yeah.
And honestly, one of the things that I'm most challenged by is just not getting stale, just constantly. And I had a great conversation with a really close friend of mine who just said, "Hey man, enjoy the ride. Just enjoy what you're doing, because the hardest part of the process is not to constantly be looking for the next, the next, the next, the next." And man, I'm sitting here right now going, okay, what's next?
Yeah.
What's next for L5? Like what's the next song? What's the next, what's the next venue? What's, whatever it is, like just constantly thinking. And I know you face that too in social media world, like what's something fresh that I can hit people with. And whether that's, changing the background on your Zoom call or wearing your calf or whatever it is. I mean, there's always just something. Look at you, ghetto. There's always something that I guess we're kind of trying to look for just to freshen things up. And so that creative process for me, I feel like God is drawing that out of me. It just kind of has really started to peak a little bit. I don't want to say peak, but blossom. Most specifically in songwriting. I've always had an interest in it. I've got buddies, Joseph, Scotty, you've written. Of course, we got Lee on the bus, and listening to him talk. I mean, I feel like that relationship specifically for me has been one that's just kind of drawn some things out. And I've paid attention to how he pays attention. He, sometimes the best writers are the best listeners. They're always listening for an idea or how someone said something. And so Lee and I've written 2 songs together. One with Tony Wood and Lee and myself, and then one just me and Lee that hopefully will be on an L5 album in the future. Scott Fowler. But if they're not, man, it's cool. I'm just really enjoying the process. I really am. Like, I'm enjoying feeling like God's given me ideas and just figuring out how to get those on paper, how to put a great melody with it that captures people's attention. So that side of the creative process is kind of where I'm living right now. I look forward to maybe progressing with that. But more than anything, man, just growth as a musician, as a singer, and as a daddy and husband too, because I got my hands full, dude. Holy moly.
So, I mean, I know everybody's looking forward to getting back out and doing concerts, and you and I and all the guys in Legacy 5 can't wait to get back out on the road and see all of our friends, those of you that are watching these videos and engaging with us on social media and everything. Give these folks that are watching this, that are going to come out to a concert and hear Legacy 5, share a little bit about something about Bryan Walker, maybe that they don't know, that they can get just a little bit more of a look into who you are before maybe they come and meet you for the first time live at a concert.
Well, that's a good one. I'll say 2 things. If you want to know me, get to know my wife and my kids. If you want to know me, know them, because my wife and kids form so much of who I am. Especially now with my kids, because I'm starting to see their personality come out. I'm starting to see the really awful things in me come out in them. And so that's kind of a refining fire in my life. But if you want to get to know me, know my wife and kids, that's a big part of who I am.
Yeah.
The other side of that is I'm a thinker. There are times I struggle, because in that creative process of trying to find new ideas, I'm always listening to music, secular music, gospel music, you name it. I'm just constantly listening to music. But there's also that time for me where I have to pause and I just got to think.
Mm-hmm.
I like to think deeply about things. I like to think theologically. That's just kind of part of who I am. So honestly, just come talk. Like, I love to conversate. And so just come talk and let me get to know you. I feel like the biggest advantage that we have as an industry and in Southern gospel is just being able to create relationships. And so coming to the record table, or coming, before or after a concert, and just getting to meet us and getting to talk, that's a big part of it for me.
Mm-hmm.
I love to just meet people where they are, talk to them, think deeply with them, talk deeply with them. It's kind of part of my personality. I enjoy that.
And one place that they can do that is, with this nice beach scenery behind us, is on a cruise or something sometime. You sit down and have some ice cream together. I know
Yeah.
on the cruise in February, you sat down many times with a lot of the people that you did know and some that you didn't know, and just got to
Yeah.
know people. That's one of the cool things about going on the cruises, is that you have extended opportunities.
Absolutely.
There on the ship for like a week,
Yeah.
as opposed to we're just in your town for 10 hours and then we're gone, and we only have 30 minutes before, 30 minutes after to kind of get to know people. But on the cruise, you get a better opportunity, hopefully, to sit down and chat with some of your friends, and that's a great thing too, because then we get the opportunity to just buy them ice cream, and it's on us the whole week,
Yeah.
which is awesome.
Free to you. Like, we'll take care of it. It's no problem. Cheapskates, man.
Man, I've enjoyed this. Tell all the folks where they can catch you on the socials, and where they can catch the group.
Well, you can catch the group on Facebook, on Instagram, Twitter. We do have Twitter, Facebook, Instagram, Twitter. I'm on all three of those: Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter. My Twitter is Bryan Walker without the E. Instagram is the same, and then my full name on Facebook. So, yeah, that's where you can catch up. And if just like leave a comment, hey, enjoyed and let's talk.
Yeah.
I'd love to get to hang out and meet some more people.
Oh yeah, and go ahead and get into some kind of deep theological thing with him, because he loves it.
Yeah, yeah.
So if you have some kind of question you really want to know the answer to, or want to go back and forth on something, Bryan enjoys that kind of
Yeah,
stuff.
I do. I actually do enjoy that.
I
But
know you do.
there are times where I'm like, okay, maybe you shouldn't ask me that. I don't know the answer to that question. And if I don't know, I'll tell you. I don't know. I ain't got a clue. That's way over my pay grade.
All right, man. Well, thanks for your time, bro. Appreciate it. And I look forward to getting back with you, doing some more singing. And I know the folks are excited to hear Legacy 5 back out on the road.
Excited too. Hey, we got some fresh, exciting stuff coming your way. Get ready. It's going to be awesome.
Right. See you, man.
See you, buddy.